My name is Margaret Ann Windsor. It's my real name, Victoria II. And I was kidnapped in 41 from Buckingham Palace. My father is the real King Edward VIII, not the imposter that they used to marry Wallace Simpson and put a 99-year seal on it and cover up my father's takedown, illegal takedown in my birth, and covered it all up. His own brother, George VI, who's illegal, and so is Elizabeth, and the Rockefellers, the Kennedys. So I've explained this on prior tapes, and what I'm going to get into here is they gave me the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I'm married to Childers. Both twins, Peggy and Carl, were dead. They were killed by their mother, Lina Dempsey, Moulton, Alabama. So I want to go here. I'm just going to put this on here. I'm wanting the voice to work better. I want to say that that's what I am as a hostage. I'm not allowed to use my name. I've put on prior tapes how they've used psychological warfare and chemical warfare against me. They've broken every law in the book against me. I'm 75 years old, and I can't even walk anymore from the chemicals and all that's been used against me. I've told about mind control murders. This became a part of it before I knew my real name, and I'm going to show this again. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and the person that I was flown out to his home during a campaign. And this is when I found, a little later, I found out my real name. And by the way, the British told me, and Germans, and a few Americans have been my friends, but most of them think it's a joke. It's hideous. So this woman's illegal. She actually, her and her father worked for the American government. And that's where I'm going to go right at the moment. Has anybody noticed what's happened to, or asked why, what's happened to the British colonies? Can you go back and look in 1930 and see how many colonies there were? And now then, what's left of us? The thing that it's too much to put on a tape or even in a movie if anybody ever made one. I wanted to focus on what they've done to me, and they've taken down the British Empire is what they've tried to do, and use the British as hostages too to fight their wars for them. When they kidnapped me and installed Elizabeth and her father's, installed her father and then her, which they're illegal but they're there, they've actually given everything away. They gave the United States, they signed treaties which are illegal, but they allowed the Americans to put the military bases all over British, everything British, colonies, everything. And in doing so, it allowed them to launch from there, control the British. Also, when they did that, because of the positioning, the Sweden, Denmark, Norway, those are my relatives, the monarchs there, all related to me just like they are Elizabeth. But I don't believe that they complied willingly with the Americans. When America took over and had Elizabeth and her father in their pocket and the military bases, they control those countries too, their positioning and everything. So they put the military bases there, and I know that some of my relatives there have tried to get them removed. It's a little hard to do when they've pretend that they're allies, and now they have the UN, which is really an arm of the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, the American government, which goes way back. When they stole this from us to begin with, their so-called revolution, and then they kidnapped me. This is what they can't, and the torture of me, and what they've done to the British, and the lies they've told about the Germans too. They can't, if the truth's ever told, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't. But I'm going to go back to Jimmy Carter was governor and president while I was doing the book, and I lived in Atlanta, or Marietta, Georgia, and Smyrna. Okay, Jimmy Carter nominated um, Reverend Young, Andrew Young, as ambassador to the UN. So what they've done during this period of time, and I'm also going to put this in, I can't give all the details, but yes, I have them. Martin Luther King knew all along, too, about my real identity, and so this gets why have the blacks who say they promote civil rights help destroy mine? I was for them. I was for everybody's civil rights, and then I started finding out what was being done to me and why, and I can't even say my name. I've had every law in the book done. I've been tortured every day of my life, and so have my sons, and they've all stood by and helped. They've condoned it. But when Jimmy Carter, he had Andrew Young as ambassador to the UN, and by the way, that's in the Rockefeller um, Plaza or Center. I mean, it's just another arm of the American government, the New World Order, or Illuminati, if you want to call it that, or Freemasons, the ones that kidnapped me. Um, so they go into South Africa, and you got to make it look like you're the good guy, okay? You make the person like they did to my father that wasn't even my father that married Wallace Simpson. It was all of it was a lie. You have to make them look bad to justify what you've done or doing. So they went into South Africa, and they took down the British. It was a colony. So they've got me over here as hostage. They've got an illegal monarch there, giving everything away, and that's my money, by the way, that she's lived on, and giving to charity. Hey, she came through here. I'm going to insert this here. They paid her the state of Virginia. She came here when the 33 mass shootings happened at Virginia Tech that were mind control, and I was living up on Full Heart Knob on the Appalachian Trail, starving, and had frozen that winter. And she's being paid to come here, and she spoke before the UN back then, I believe she did, or she's come back since then and spoke. So I'm just the real monarch. Hey, can't say my name, deprived of any civil right. I can't get an attorney. I don't know what else to say, except if anybody cared to look, everything was tied up in, supposedly these countries are allies of the United States. I dare say that most of them aren't, or they weren't back then. So when the United States calls someone their ally, they're really talking about their hostage. So they've got an Area 51 in Australia, all right? They said they didn't have it here in their own country. They stole from a so-called revolution. Then they kidnapped me, take down my father, install their own monarch there, Elizabeth and Company, and George, her father. And they've got an Area 51 in Australia. So they've taken over everything. And it's a big joke. It's a big facade. So I'm going to get back to, and this is going down for some reason, and I'm not going to get to finish it here. It's fixing to go off, and I don't know why, but it is. It's counting down. I don't know, I did something to it myself.